Absolutely. You're going to see significant increases in strength and muscle mass. Hey guys, Mark McKillier with Live Anabolic, and today I want to answer the age-old question. Can you build muscle after 60? I don't know if that's really an age-old question, but that's something I see on a fairly regular basis on our Facebook page. And then also it's just something that, I read about online. I get emails occasionally, and it's just kind of the nagging question that I have because I just turned 60 a few months ago. And so the short answer is, of course, yes, all right? But we can't do it the same way as we did it when we were in our 20s and 30s. And when I say when we did it, I'm talking about myself and then those of you watching who actually were working out when you were young. A lot of guys watching right now didn't lift weights when you were in your 20s and 30s. That was kind of a new concept back then. I was in my 20s and 30s back in the 80s and then into my 90s, into the 1990s. And there weren't a lot of gyms. I lived in Austin, Texas. I went to the University of Texas, and I started lifting weights when I was 20. I was a sophomore in college, and I mean, there was one gym in the entire city of Austin. And for those of you who don't know, Austin is the capital of Texas. So one gym in the capital of Texas back in 1981 when I turned 20. So anyway, guys, you can definitely do it, but man, it was so easy when we were young. And so for those of you who didn't work out back then, just take my word for it. Oh, it was fun. It was easy. You could see almost immediate results. When I say immediate, I don't mean 2 or 3 days. I'm talking about within a few weeks. You could see results. It was just bizarre, and I just took it for granted back then. So anyway, it's not as easy, but we can't use that as an excuse to not try, to not do it. And I think too many men just kind of say, look, I'm just too old. I'm 60, 65, whatever. And it just ain't gonna happen. So if it ain't gonna happen, then why waste my time? Well, that is just a horrible mentality. And this video is here to dispel, all right, that myth or that thought going through your head. You absolutely can build muscle. And matter of fact, for you guys who've never worked out in your life, it's even easier for you guys to build muscle than it is for me. And I'll tell you why in just a second. So before I get into the 4 tips I'm going to give you guys on how to build muscle over 60, I want to just quickly explain how it's actually easier for older guys who've never worked out to build muscle than it is for someone like myself. And that is, you're not even close to your genetic potential when it comes to building muscle because you've just never pushed yourself. You've never done it. All right. I'm way, way closer to my genetic potential. I've gotten about as much as I can get out of my body, okay? I would have to do extreme, radical type nutrition and workout to build much more muscle than I already have, just because I've been doing it so long. So for you guys who are just starting out, man, you're gonna be able to see some significant progress pretty fast. Now, not within 2 or 3 weeks, like I did when I was in my 20s, but definitely within a month or 2. Absolutely, you're gonna see significant increases in strength and muscle mass. And of course, most of you guys are actually looking to lose a lot of fat at the same time. So it's going to be really great for you guys who really haven't trained either ever or in a long time. You guys are going to see results fast. So, putting that aside, I want to kind of get into 4 different tips I want you guys to think about. You older guys, or I say older, you older guys, us older guys. And the first one today out of the 4 is recovery. And I know that sounds kind of goofy, but our bodies, just don't recover nearly as quickly as they did when we were younger. And that's just kind of obvious to most guys. If you get an injury, even just a little cut on your arm, just everything takes longer to heal, right? And the same thing goes with building muscle, because what happens is when we're working out, we're actually damaging our muscle fibers. We're intentionally, creating injury to our body. And, what happens is over the course of several days, your body repairs those muscle fibers. And it depends on how much you broke the muscle fibers down as to how long of recovery you need. And this video is not going to go into the details about how long that is, but let's just say if you do crazy hard workouts with lots of volume and lots of intensity, you're gonna do a lot of damage to your muscles, which is of course what we're shooting for, which means it's going to take much longer for your body to recover. The way I currently work out is I like to hit each muscle group once per week. So I focus on just a single muscle group. I don't go in and work out, my entire body. But I do a lot of volume and a lot of intensity, which means I do a lot of damage to the muscles, and I wait a whole week before I hit that same muscle group again, all right? That's a little longer than I really need, but it just makes it easy to keep track of. If I did it every 5 or 6 days, then your schedule gets off and it's just weird. It's hard to keep track of where you are. Now, for you guys doing my Fit After 50 routine, you might notice in phase 1 that you hit every muscle group in your body on Monday. And then 2 days later on Wednesday, you hit every muscle group on your body again. And then 2 days later on Friday, you hit every muscle group in your body for the 3rd time in 1 week. So how can that be? All right. Whereas Mark is only working out once a week. Well, it's because of the style that I have you working out in phase 1. So you're not pushing yourselves real hard. You're not doing a lot of damage to those muscle fibers because you're not doing a lot of volume. Now, you may be out of breath. You may be gassed, all right? But that's because of the style, the circuit style training that we're doing in phase 1. So you're not breaking down the muscle a lot, but you are doing high intensity interval training style workouts, which is going to get you really out of breath, but it gets your heart rate up. It makes you burn a lot of calories. It focuses on, basically losing body fat in phase 1, while at the same time, just kind of waking up those muscles, okay? So because you don't hit each muscle group hard on Monday, it doesn't take nearly as much recovery time before you can hit those muscle groups again, all right? So that's just kind of it in a nutshell as far as recovery. Now, the other part of recovery is not just the amount of time off, but how much sleep you get at night, your nutritional intake throughout the day, all right? So those are all part of recovery. And just from a macro view, a high level view, those things, all those things that go into recovery are just way more important now than when you were young. All right, so tip number 2 kind of dovetails into the end of tip number 1, the recovery. And that is, we really have to take care of our testosterone levels. And that's a lot easier said than done. If you've seen some of my other videos, I have a lot of videos where I talk about testosterone. And matter of fact, a good thing to do if you want to kind of learn more about this is just to use that little search feature in the upper right-hand corner of our YouTube channel. It looks like a magnifying glass. Just type in testosterone, and it will bring up all the videos that Gary and I have shot that talk about testosterone. But this is just going to be a real kind of tip of the iceberg thing, and that is, as we get older, our testosterone is just not nearly as high as it was when we were younger. So, we need to really be cognizant of all the little things we can do day in and day out to maximize our body's natural production of testosterone. And that is one of which is sleep. So, I don't, look at some of the other videos that I just mentioned, but sleep, at night is when your body produces the majority of the testosterone that it produces throughout the entire 24-hour period. So all day long, roughly I think 80% of your testosterone is made when you're sleeping at night. So sleep is obviously really important. And then, of course, to focus on your testosterone, to keep it high, there's other things you can do too, besides just sleep. And that is eat the right foods, and not just, 2 or 3 times a week. You got to really focus on eating the right foods day in and day out. The types of workouts you do, the types of exercise can influence your body's production of testosterone. And then finally, the easiest one, all right? And there aren't many easy things we can do when it comes to testosterone. You need to at least try supplementation. Just experiment with it. I know I'm really biased. We sell some supplements that I'm a big believer in, and I think we have a very honest, ethical company. And that translates into, by far and away, the best guarantee in the supplement industry. We're the only ones that say, look, if it doesn't work for you, we get it, just let us know. Shoot us an email and we will refund your money. You don't have to go through the trouble of finding all the bottles of supplements and then shipping them back to us, the unused portion. That's always a pain in the butt, and supplement companies know it, which means people don't, make use of their warranties. But our warranty is way better and easier. And so, guys, supplements are just that. They're not primaries. They're not the primary thing you do as far as boosting your testosterone. But, every little thing helps, all right? And so we got something called Anabolic Reload, okay? It's just a pill you take. It's gotten fantastic reviews on our website. So click the link below, and then the link will take you to our website where we talk about this supplement and all the ingredients in there, and then why the ingredients are in there. Okay, I think it's a really good, we did a really good job explaining how this stuff works, why it works, and then scroll down just a little bit further, okay, and you'll see the reviews. So we get fantastic reviews, and those are all legitimate reviews. I mean, those are not contrived, made up stuff that we've written. Those are from real customers. And so it doesn't work for everybody. And there's no way to predict if it's going to work for you. I think it's partially genetic and partially a nutrition thing. So some guys just genetically are not going to respond very well to supplements. Most guys do. And then sometimes some guys don't respond to supplements because their nutrition is just so spot on, so good, day in and day out, that the supplements just aren't adding all that much, that their body is already getting all the micronutrients and everything that it needs. But you'll never know unless you give it a try, and it's basically a risk-free deal, all right? So give it a try, guys. If it doesn't work for you, just let us know. But the vast majority of guys are loving this stuff. All right, tip number 3, guys, is you're gonna have to take notes on your workouts, okay? It doesn't have to be crazy over the top, but you need to focus on getting stronger. And I know that may sound kind of obvious, but if you don't write it down and keep track of how much weight you're lifting in each individual exercise, week after week, month after month, then you'll just plateau. You'll end up using the same amount of weight, which means you're not pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. You're not doing enough intensity, okay? You've heard the old saying, no pain, no gain, and it's true. And when I say pain, come on, guys, it's only painful for what? The last few reps of each set. So if I have you guys doing, say, 12 reps in one of my phases, the first, 5, 6, 7 reps are easy, right? It's only the last 3 or 4 reps in each set that's really hard, and hence that's the only painful part. And that lasts for what, 10 seconds? And it's not excruciating pain. But guys, you have to put the intensity in. And then what happens is you damage your muscle fibers more when you push yourself really hard like that. And then the more damage you do to your muscles, the more your body overcompensates when it repairs those muscles. It actually, your muscles don't just repair back to their old level. Your body is pretty smart. It says it needs to compensate for this stress that you're putting on it. And so those muscle fibers grow back a little bit bigger and a little bit stronger each time, but only if you're really pushing them beyond what they're used to doing, okay? And so that's why you need to just keep track, print out your workouts, all right? Write down how much weight you're using, how many resistance bands you're using on a particular exercise. And you can't increase the weight every single day, every single week. But you should be shooting for increasing it, once a month. Now, beginners, you guys will be able to increase it real consistently for months and months and months. All right. You guys that are intermediate and advanced, it's going to be much harder to increase the weight because you're closer to your genetic potential. I'm at that spot. It's really, really hard for me to go up and do any more weight. All right. But there's other things we can do to confuse your body and still build muscle. I'll talk about that in a different video. But this is called progressive overload. It's a term that's used in this industry a lot that trainers like to throw around. It's a real simple concept, and that is, you have to force your body to use heavier and heavier loads. You have to overload the muscles on a progressive and consistent basis, which makes you stronger. And of course, the stronger you get, the more muscle you have, and that's what this whole video is about. All right, and then the fourth and final tip, guys, is protein. And that's a subset of your nutrition, right? But protein is the most important part of your nutrition because your muscles have to have protein to repair and grow. And as we age, just about like everything else in our body, our body doesn't work as well as when we were younger, which means it doesn't synthesize as much of the protein that we eat as it did when we were younger. So a smaller percentage of the protein we ingest gets synthesized and converted into muscle than when we were younger. What a pain in the ass. Growing old is a pain in the ass. Everybody raise your hand. So it means you really need to try to get more protein in your diet daily than when you were younger. And that's pretty hard to do, all right? So that's why a lot of other videos that Gary and I have shot talk about, good sources of protein, how to get protein in. I got lots of little tricks that I do, and I've shared them with you guys in some other videos. So just type in protein or nutrition in the search bar, and we'll have a bunch of videos for you. But guys, getting protein is really important. And if possible, try to get in some good sources of protein right after your workout. That's the best way you can do it, but that conflicts with so many of you guys that are doing intermittent fasting and working out in the morning, right? So that causes an issue there because a lot of guys work out in the morning before they go to work, and then they don't eat their first meal of the day until noon because they're intermittent fasting. So why are they intermittent fasting? Why are you guys doing that? Well, mainly because the vast majority of you guys are trying to lose body fat, okay? And that is your primary goal, lose fat. It'd be nice to build muscle, all right? But you can't see the muscle you have until you lose the fat. So for you guys, and that's the majority of the people watching right now, I would say, keep intermittent fasting. Even if you work out in the morning, you don't have to get protein immediately afterwards. You can wait until noon to get your meal and your protein source. It's not gonna kill you. It's not gonna kill the gains from your workout in the morning. It just won't be optimum, all right? Now, let's say 6 months, a year from now, you've lost all the fat that you really wanna lose, all right? Now, you don't have to intermittent fast anymore. Now you can, if you want to still work out in the morning, because that's the only time of the day you can work out, you can get a good source of protein in there, and it could be a protein powder, it could be breakfast, it doesn't matter. You can do that and break your fast and not worry about it, because now you've gotten to the point where building muscle is a little bit more important than losing fat. All right, so those are the 4 tips, guys, and some of them are really easy, like just taking a pill, all right, once a day. And some of them are a lot tougher, like all the other ones are a lot tougher to do. But guys, I do it. I promise all you guys can do it. And if you just stick with it and never give up on yourself, I don't care if you're in your 60s or 70s, you still can build muscle.